You have anxiety. Maybe you already know this about yourself. Maybe you've been told it's a disorder. Maybe you've sat in a doctor's office and been handed a diagnosis and a prescription, and sent home with the quiet implication that something in your brain is broken and needs to be fixed. Here is what that doctor almost certainly did not tell you. Your anxiety kept your entire bloodline alive for 300,000 years. Not metaphorically. Not as a motivational reframe to make you feel better about something that genuinely makes your life harder. Literally. The specific wiring in your brain that makes you lie awake at 3 in the morning, running through worst-case scenarios, that exact wiring is the reason you exist. And the people who didn't have it? A significant number of them didn't make it. Go back 50,000 years. Your ancestors live in a group of 30 people moving through an African landscape that is trying to kill them in 100 different ways at once. Lions, leopards, snakes, rival human groups. Starvation, drought, disease. The list of things that can end a human life in this environment is essentially endless. In this world, your brain does something that seems, from the outside, completely irrational. It worries. While everyone else in the group is relaxing after a successful hunt, eating well, sitting around the fire feeling safe, your brain is running scenarios. What if that rustling sound in the grass wasn't the wind? What if the water source they found yesterday has something wrong with it? What if the group they spotted at a distance yesterday comes back tonight with more people? The others think you're exhausting. They wish you would relax. They don't understand why you can't just enjoy the moment. And then, 3 days later, the lion that was hiding in the grass attacks. Or the water source makes everyone sick. Or the other group comes back, and you were the one who saw it coming. Researchers studying the evolution of anxiety have documented something that completely reframes how we think about this condition. In stable, safe environments, anxious individuals do seem to have a disadvantage. They are more stressed. They use more energy on worry. They are harder to be around socially, but in unstable, dangerous environments, the kind your ancestors lived in for the vast majority of human history, anxious individuals show measurable survival advantages. They detect threats earlier. They avoid risks that others take without thinking. They are more likely to notice when something in the environment has changed. They process potential danger more thoroughly and more carefully than their less anxious peers. Scientists call this the sentinel effect. Every group of social animals benefits from having individuals who are more alert than average, who are scanning the environment for danger even when everything seems fine. These individuals pay a personal cost. They are more stressed. They sleep less well. They spend energy on vigilance that others spend on rest. But the group benefits enormously from having them. A human group of 30 people moving through dangerous territory is significantly safer when some members of that group are constitutionally incapable of fully relaxing. When their nervous systems are always running a low-level threat assessment, even during apparently safe moments. When they will wake up at the slightest unusual sound and alert the others before whatever made that sound has time to act. Your ancestors needed people like this, desperately. And the genetic variants that produce anxiety are ancient. They appear across human populations worldwide, which tells researchers that they were present very early in human history and were maintained by selection because they provided real advantages in real environments. Here is where it gets even more interesting. Anxiety doesn't just make individuals more alert, it changes how anxious people interact with their groups in ways that turned out to be enormously valuable. Anxious individuals tend to be more socially attuned. They pay closer attention to the emotional states of people around them. They are more likely to notice when a relationship in the group is becoming tense, which in a small group of 30 people dependent on each other for survival is genuinely critical information. Unresolved conflict in a small group can fracture cooperation at exactly the wrong moment. The person who notices it early and either addresses it or alerts others is providing a service that has real survival value. Anxious individuals also tend to be more careful about food, more likely to smell it thoroughly before eating, more likely to notice something slightly off about the water, more likely to remember and avoid the plant that made someone sick 2 seasons ago. In a world without germ theory, without food safety standards, without any of the systems modern life uses to keep food safe? This caution was not paranoia. It was a genuine and important protective function. And anxious individuals tend to plan further ahead. While others are focused on the immediate present, the food available today, the shelter available tonight, anxious minds are already running the scenarios for next week. What happens if the rains don't come? What happens if the herd moves? What happens if someone in the group gets injured? This future orientation, which in modern life can become debilitating rumination, in an ancient environment was strategic planning that kept groups alive through predictable crises. Evolutionary psychologists studying this have proposed what they call the smoke detector principle. A smoke detector that goes off every time you make toast is annoying. It disrupts your morning. It seems like it's malfunctioning. But a smoke detector that doesn't go off when your house is actually on fire is catastrophic. The cost of occasional false alarms is worth paying for the protection against the real thing. Your anxiety is a smoke detector calibrated for a world that was much more on fire than the one you live in now. The problem is not that you have anxiety. The problem is the mismatch between the environment your nervous system was built for and the one you actually inhabit. In the ancestral environment, the threats your anxiety was detecting were real and physical and immediate. A rustle in the grass really might be a predator. The stranger approaching from the other direction really might be hostile. The food that smells slightly off really might make you sick. Your nervous system's threat response was roughly calibrated to actual threat levels. In the modern environment, your nervous system is running the same software on completely different inputs. The presentation at work triggers the same physiological response as a predator in the grass. Social media comparison triggers the same alarm as a rival group approaching. Financial uncertainty triggers the same cascading worry as a food shortage. Your threat detection system is as sensitive as it ever was, but the threats have changed shape entirely. The result is a nervous system that was exquisitely suited to one world, running constantly on high alert in a world it was not designed for. Research from institutions studying anxiety across cultures has consistently found that the genetic variants associated with anxiety disorders are also associated with heightened environmental sensitivity, stronger empathy, more careful decision-making, and better performance in roles requiring vigilance and attention to detail. These are not incidental correlations. They are the same underlying traits expressing differently depending on context. The anxious ancient human who couldn't sleep because they were running threat scenarios was a sentinel. A planner? An early warning system for the entire group. The anxious modern human who can't sleep because they're running threat scenarios about emails and social situations is carrying ancient equipment in a world that has changed faster than evolution can track. Understanding this doesn't make anxiety disappear.